rare UFO phenomenon.
Okay, Houston, we've had a problem here.
Like DIA, like NSA, NRO, NGA, as well as their contractors, do a deep dive into exactly what these objects might be. And this was the Orb Working Group. And so a report from a Russian general at the time, retired now, his name was Alexeyev. General Alexeyev wrote that the Russian leadership wanted to attract these objects using radars, and they found a way to do so. An officer in the Office of the Chief Scientist and the Directorate of Science and Technology approached me. This is someone I knew that I worked with before in a field called scientific visualization. He said, there's going to be an interesting one-day symposium that you might want to attend. It's going to be at this hotel, and it's going to be on this date. There were 3 topics on the agenda. It was sponsored by an office at CIA, which was highly placed and we should have known these topics. These topics were the UFO studies done by CIA in the past, the existence of alien hybrids and CIA's interest in alien hybridization of the human genome, and the 3rd topic was about an information technology explosion that will happen where this information will be disseminated very rapidly with devices that were not yet invented, far better than any of the cell phones we had back in the day. This was the first time where I actually got an official briefing on anything to do with UFOs. And in the briefing, it was stated that the McMinnville, Oregon UFO was an actual UFO. The briefer said a lot of the UFOs seen during the 50s and 60s when CIA was testing its aircraft, that is the U-2 and the A-12 ox cart, they were identified as UFOs by observers on the ground because the test craft were silver. They were not black. They were not black planes at all during the testing phase. They were silver. So when you see something streaking across the sky at 70,000 or 80,000 feet that was silver, a lot of observers thought that they were UFOs. And CIA thought back then that, okay, that's fine. If they identify them as UFOs, that's just hiding in plain sight, these special aircraft that we were working on. We don't care if they're identified as UFOs. And so the McMinnville UFO was a real UFO. That occurred in 1950, before the first U-2 flew. And if it was just a craft, I think the government would readily disclose that. And yes, there were outer space beings on the craft. I think the government would disclose that eventually. But the fact that these beings had DNA that was found in the human genome, I think that is the actual secret of Roswell. I think that is a core secret of why the government will not talk about Roswell. All humans are, in fact, alien DNA enhanced, but others were more enhanced than most humans, and that these more enhanced humans were of particular interest to CIA. Now, I didn't put it all together back then, but now I believe that this is part of the Roswell story that was never told, that whatever craft was recovered, and that whoever the occupants were in that craft, that when the scientists were able to sequence the human genome and then went back at CIA to look at the genome of any recovered alien beings, they were surprised to find that what the alien DNA looked like was also in humans. But this was the way I connected the dots, because I wanted to understand exactly what Roswell was all about. Why is it such a secret that a spacecraft from outer space crashed and there may have been occupants on board? Why is that such a military secret Of course, you can say it was the Cold War, but the Cold War has been over since 1991, when the Soviet Union fell, and still there's this secrecy over Roswell, that particular incident, that the government has never addressed. I found it very interesting that Avril Haines, the Director of National Intelligence, the head of the entire intelligence community, and the NASA Administrator, Bill Nelson, appeared together at the National Cathedral. And we were discussing our future in space. And they made some very telling revelations. For example, it was the first time in my memory where a sitting head of the intelligence community of the United States spoke the word extraterrestrially in the context of these UAP craft. I believe that's an important step forward of building a bridge to actually revealing to the world and to the U.S. citizen exactly what happened at Roswell, what's happening now over our skies. So I have high hopes about the coming years as we approach the 75th anniversary of Roswell, that the government will finally come clean as to what exactly is this phenomenon all about. Who are flying the craft? Where do they come from? Are they part of our hidden past that we've forgotten? Can they then correlate it to, for example, religious texts that describe a creation story where gods were able to create humans made in their image? I have high hopes that 2022 will be the year where we start making that first step toward revealing the actual truth. I firmly believe not in the need to know. I think the need to know is outdated, it's outmoded. I believe in the need to share.